Hi, Alex.
Hi, Jan.
How are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
Welcome
I'm sick, but I'm getting better.
Welcome to Daddy Square,
Daddy Square.
episode 8. And happy adoption month.
That's what this is?
It is, November.
We don't have to adopt another child as a result, do we? Did you go and get one and you didn't tell me?
This is Daddy Square. Hello to everybody. Hello to gayswithkids.com listeners. We're talking to people about specific issues that related to parenting in general and may arise for gay couples having children. We bring gay dads. Sometimes they're not dads, but they're gay, to tell their stories. And we hope that our guests can serve as mentors to our listeners in some way.
I mean, but that was terrible. I think that the only way that we can get away with you using that is if we admit that it was terrible and just move on.
Yeah. Today we're going to talk about entertaining the kids, and I want to explain that we're not talking about entertaining the kids in the sense of taking them places or taking them to classes. It's about using your own creativity to stimulate the kids and create fun and positive atmosphere.
Fair enough, although I think that there's a kind of a general thing there about what do you do with your kids' time.
Yeah.
And a lot of their time is going to be spent in your house no matter what you do.
At least at the beginning.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, when they're babies and toddlers. I guess that, remember that somebody at school told us that from like age 6, everything changes and like there are these little people who can, you know, spend their time by themselves and do stuff that they like.
I do, and you know what I wanted to say?
Ruin the house.
You know what I wanted to say? One of the things that's been really amazing and surprising about this podcast so far for me is that I think everyone who we've invited on who has had kids has only had older kids than ours. And so it has given me this perspective where...
Except Peter.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, Peter had one younger, and I think one is our age.
Okay. Because I look at their stories and I say, wait, what? How did that happen? When did that happen? And it happened years after the age that our kids are now.
But let's face it, Alec, this is a big issue for us. And I'll get into my insecurities about being a parent now.
Why have you not done that before?
No, that I think
episodes?
that we're not taking the kids out enough, as opposed to parents who, you know, upload pictures to Facebook. Like here we are in the Carnival Fair in Pomona.
We popped to Paris for the weekend. We popped
to Irvine to pick strawberries. Here we are at the Popeyes Ferris wheel in China. I don't know how people can do this. I mean,
if you know how people can do this, you can write us at hello@daddysquare.com.
So I feel guilty about it. But on the other hand, we're not taking them places because basically we're working dads who are tired. And we have 2 kids and it's a lot of work.
Do you mind if I say something right now in this?
Yes.
You know, what you just said sounded so defensive. It sounded so defensive. Like,
it's a problem.
Well,
it's
I
my
don't
problem.
Think, I know. I think it's your problem. I don't
guess
think
that
it's our kids' problem. And
no, it's not. But I feel guilty that I don't do that a lot.
Know, guilt is not really worth all that much. So, I don't know.
Anyway, here I am exposing my insecurities about parenthood to a nationwide audience.
Global, from what I've been given to understand.
We got an email from Paris this week. Somebody in
Excellent.
Paris. We'll get back to it in.
Okay.
I mean, we'll talk about it in later episodes. I just want to say that on the other hand, and that's to say to our defense against. Again, I'm defending.
Yeah.
I don't know.
All right, defend away.
I'm defending myself against my Facebook page wall.
Okay.
The modern parenting guys that I hear talks about not to go crazy running around with the kids looking for ways to occupy them in every minute. Sometimes we don't give them time to just be at home with their toys.
See?
And not be together as family. Psychology books say that not only not doing anything not doing anything in my terms, which means we're not going to pick out strawberries in Irvine or, go to the Ferris wheel in China. So not doing anything increases kids' imagination and independence, but also when the kids grow up and become adults, they have this sense of feelings that they have to go anywhere all the time, like do something. Nothing is good enough.
Right.
So
I agree.
And I know this feeling very well.
Well, look, I have to say, I mean, I think that the idea is that you want your kids to experience what it is to be on their own a little bit, to find their way to entertain themselves a little bit, even from an early age. We cannot be their clown every 5 minutes, and if it's not us, we can't find somebody else to do it for them either. So, I think that that's developmentally a valuable thing for us to be doing.
So I thought about who is going to be a good example to talk about entertaining the kids, and I started searching for a professional entertainer. So Mark Reese is a former actor, dancer, and singer. He worked in theater, he worked at Disneyland. He also has a background in teaching kids to dance. We brought him and we started to interrogate him basically about how he used his creativity to entertain the kids.
Yeah.
Basically, it was so important to us because I feel that we wanted to share our stories, right?
Yeah, and I look at what the first 3 years of entertaining our kids has been like, and I realize that it's been entertainment, it's been education, it's been a way to burn time, but pretty much it goes like this. From the very beginning, I mean, literally from the very beginning, these kids' lives have been surrounded with music. And
yes.
When I say music, Jan, you are the music programmer in chief in our family, which does not always redound to my benefit because, our music tastes are not always,
KYLE.
Yeah, they're not always. They're not always perfect. But nevertheless, the point is this. I actually think it's really valuable that they have had music around them from morning to night. I mean, all the time. And that music has not been the Itsy Bitsy Spider. That's happened here and there. In fact, I would say bizarrely, they've been exposed to little kid music much later in their lives recently.
And by the nanny.
And by the nanny, that's right. And at the beginning, so pop music and Israeli pop music and the stuff that we enjoy listening to. And I think that there's a tremendous amount of value in that. Because, look, that music is more sophisticated. And people say, well, perhaps it's too sophisticated for a 6-month-old. I'm not really sure I understand what that could mean.
Listen to the song I Really Like You by Carly Rae Jepsen and tell me it's not sophisticated enough for a 6-month-old. That was part of our routine. Like we used to have a show.
We did.
That was a song in our show that we used to do for our kids every day.
Those were the desperate days.
With a puppet.
Yeah. It started at 6 p.m., Yanir? 6? I think it went from 6 to 7. It was an hour long.
Yes, it was a programmed show
yes.
that we did.
It was
puppets,
incredible.
And then Deanna was dancing a little bit.
There were puppets, there was dancing,
songs.
There were veils. Because gay men generally, ask yourself if you're listening to this, do you have anything in the house that could be used as a veil? And you know
yes.
full well that the answer is yes. But anyway,
or a dress.
There were veils, there was all kinds of stuff. And these kids lay there in these little 45-degree seats of theirs and looked at us, like
and smiling
we were insane.
And clapping.
Yeah. It was really good stuff.
Yeah,
and there was really, repetition.
So it was such a good stimulation for them. So we took them out, but basically we had this show from 6 to 7 where we do puppets. It was the same song every day, every day. The same routine. When I used to do the show, I had specific assignment for every puppet. So it was, for me, it was the same puppets doing the same thing every day.
I'll just point out, you did this, but you can't be bothered to take the kids to China for a Ferris wheel. So, everybody does their parenting in their own way. I'll just use
Janet's words. What have you done for me lately?
Yes. Very good.
That's what I'm talking about.
Very good.
So we did that. That was sort of a unique entertainment that I think really helped our kids, and it helped us to kind of pastime with full attention to the kids, with eye contacts, and it was full bonding from a very early age.
Agreed.
And
Yeah.
it was really unique looking back. Anyway, we're going to talk a little bit more after the interview with Mark. I hope you enjoy it. He is a very creative man. We try to extract as much creativity as we could from him. Though he is shy, I must say.
Yeah, he came out okay.
Here he is. Here's the interview with Mark Rees, an entertainer.
The reason why we wanted to meet with you is because as we're working together on this podcast to help bring in people who can give us different perspectives on raising kids in general, but raising kids amongst gay families and the different angles of it, entertainment and the sort of creative exposure to kids is really important. And so we wanted to bring somebody in who can help us talk about that.
Okay.
And we thought you'd be that guy.
Well, I'll try.
And so we want to start out a little bit with you,
Okay.
before we get into the probing
Okay.
probing questions. So can you tell us a little bit about yourself, where you live, your kids' situation, etc.?
All right. Well, my name is Mark Rees, and I live in Encino with my partner Phil and our now 10-year-old adopted son Bodhi. We live in Encino. I lived in New York for a long time, like 16 years, and was pursuing the whole Broadway musical theater
American dream
experience. So that's what I was doing there,
Okay.
and then the idea of creating a family started to come into play, and we thought, well, are we going to stay here in our charming one-bedroom on West 64th and Broadway, or
Yeah.
So we kind of decided to make a relocation back to the West Coast, where our families are from.
Right. So it was really part of the decision was it'll be easier for us to raise kids here.
Well, that's what we thought. You never know.
You never know.
You
Yeah.
know?
Okay. And how about and your work, your profession? What do you tell us about what you do?
Currently?
Sure.
Currently what I do is, I teach yoga.
Oh.
I've been teaching Bikram yoga since like 2000, so like 18 years.
Wow.
I've been teaching yoga. And but
that's the hot yoga,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
So as global warming proceeds, it's going to be so much more valuable for all of us. That's great.
what else do I
it
do?
will just be called yoga.
It'll just be called yoga, right?
I'm down at Disney a lot working in the Frozen show.
Oh,
The
really?
live Frozen show at the Hyperion.
Oh, that's cool.
So I've been doing that for about 2.5 years.
Okay. All right. Very good.
It says on your resume that you're a dancer too. So you're actor and dancer?
Dancer, yes.
Oh wow.
Just a double threat, or are you a triple threat?
I don't
Can
know.
you sing something?
That's
I'm not no, I don't know. Depending on how we go on, maybe something will come out, but not right
I
now.
have alcohol. If it'll help lubricate things at all, you just let me know.
So, yes, but
so-
I still kind of pursue the idea of what I do, musical theater, as a performer, as a dancer, singer, actor. I still kind of keep the idea of if there was a project in New York that would maybe bring me back to New York, I would be open to that.
Got it.
Phil loves being out here because he loves television. And
Phil is the husband.
Yes, and he loves television, and this is where he really likes to be on set. And he does costume and wardrobe, and
Oh, cool.
he loves clothes. So he's like in a perfect world. you
Cool.
know? Yeah.
So when did you adopt your son? It's your son, right?
Son, yeah.
Yeah.
2008.
2008. So right. Okay. And so he was how old when you adopted him?
3 months.
Wow.
He was placed with us when he was 3 months old.
Was it a very difficult thing to achieve? I don't mean raising him. I'm going to assume raising him
process?
was difficult. We'll get to that part. Yeah.
The process of the
Yeah, of
adoption.
adoption.
It took us a little while. It
Yeah.
took us some time. We came along some road bumps along the way, and I always felt like we were going forward, but then we had to kind of a couple steps back, and then had to go forward again.
Sure.
And there were some bumps along the way. But
Were you? I know that a lot of parents who adopt have that kind of concern during the initial period of the biological parents wanting to get back into the picture. Did you guys have fears of that, or was it a relatively easy?
I would say it was relatively easy. One, because the risk was fairly low of being returned to birth parents or family, and because of the past history of the parents. So the risk of Bodhi being returned to his birth family.
Does he know that he's adopted?
Yeah,
now?
he knows. He knows.
And when did the questions started?
I don't know. I mean, I really don't know. I mean, it amazes me that he knows like his birth mom's name, Hope, and he goes, "Oh yeah, when I was with Hope for my first Christmas with Hope, I remember what she got me," and I'm like. No, you don't, because your first Christmas was with us. I'm just saying it in my head,
right?
Your first Christmas was with us. It wasn't with Hope, but I let him tell. I let him tell me. I'm like, oh well, how was that first Christmas?
Right, that's great
with Hope, but sometimes
how
it will
did he
come
know
up.
the name?
I don't know. That's really weird. I don't know. I don't know how he just heard that or knew that.
Huh. Wow.
I don't know.
Amazing.
That's amazing.
He's also very free, like when we're at the park, like, these are my two dads, or or when we just started school again and we're at a new school, he's like, well, my other dad, and he goes, because only one of us was there, and he's like, well, my other dad,
Yeah.
So I'm like, great.
Yeah.
He's very comfortable with that.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a bad segue to talking about the kind of content, culture, creativity that your kids are exposed to, certainly when you watch the standard kids movie, right? There's a mom and a dad. And I guess one of the questions I'd like to ask is, as you've been raising your son, have you actually sort of seriously considered the question of the nature of the families that he's exposed to in the TV and the movies that he sees? Do you think that it has an impact, and do you balance what he sees based on that?
Well, I don't watch a whole lot of TV, but I do know, like, if you look at those Disney movies, a lot of those kids in the, like, Nemo, parents die, or
Right.
Bambi, or like there's a parent missing,
Or Frozen.
right.
That's true.
But I haven't put a whole lot of thought into that, really, and it really hasn't come up for us a lot.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So
I mean, it's important,
right.
but
So your son has the benefit of having at least one parent who's an entertainer. What do you do when you want, especially when your son was much younger? What did you do to entertain the kid? Right, you gotta give him something.
Do you
to
sing
do.
and dance to him?
Do you sing and
I
dance?
mean, that's really a huge part of my life. Like in the car, I always have like my Broadway show tunes,
Yeah.
playing, and at home, if I have the TV on, that channel, the music channel, Stage and Screen, that's always. I wanted that music. I always wanted music in our environment.
How do you choose what the music is? I mean, I understand there's Broadway. More power to you. But is there, did you say to yourself, well, what about Itsy Bitsy Spider? How does it balance against the stuff that you love or your husband loves? Do you guys fight over what music?
Not really the music. Not really the
Okay.
music. And we also, and he's kind of like, like, can you? He goes, stop singing. Sometimes he's just like, stop singing. And have Guys and Dolls on. Stop singing. And then he wants me to turn on the radio because he wants to be with all the, Katy Perry and all the music that's that the kids love today.
So do you ever have something where you say to him, I'd rather that you not listen to that?
There was a song that who do you ask? Siri? Wait, who do you ask?
You can ask Siri.
Alexa? Who do you
Alexa.
ask? Alexa?
You can talk to pretty much anything
He asked
these days.
Alexa to play a song the other night, and I really didn't even know what the song was. And so I wish I could tell you what the name of the song was, but I heard some of the lyrics that were coming out right away. I said, "Can we turn that off?"
Right.
Like I said, "Can we turn that off?"
Why? Because it was foul language?
Yeah, the language. The
Okay.
language. It was late at night. Also, it was kind of late in the evening, like getting ready to go to bed. And like this was not the music that I wanted to have like playing.
Yeah.
And that content I didn't
Right.
want. I was like, can we, let's-
Got it.
Yeah.
Alexa, off.
Right. Yeah, she hears "shut up" a lot,
Yeah.
Alexa, I have a feeling.
When our kids were younger, I used to, and I'm like the terrible singer in the world, probably. I used to dance and sing to them just because I knew that nobody else is watching and they're probably not going to remember it. Did you ever made like over the top performances to your kids, knowing that they won't remember it anyway, but on that spot, it's really it was helpful?
I don't know if I did like over the top performances, but I will say like if there was something that I was working on, something that I was working on, like material that I had to learn, material that I wanted to learn, and I would just keep going over it and over it and over it. Perhaps he was hearing that, and it wasn't like I was going to do a show for him. It was just part of my job, part of my, I want to learn this song, or I need to learn this scene, or I need to learn these lines, I need to learn this dance, I need to go over these steps. So yeah, I dance in my kitchen, I tap in my kitchen,
Right.
Not with the shoes on, but
Right.
That would be cool.
but I do practice, if I had to come up with, or if I go teach a dance class and I have to go teach tap, a lot of times I'm just like, that's when I start working on materials. Like, well, I'm just in the little kitchen area.
Right.
And
Well,
sometimes he'll get up and go like, "Hey, look what I'm doing," and he'll just start moving his feet. I'm like, "That's great," but at least he's
interested.
He thinks he's doing something. Now, I don't think he wants to go to dance class.
Yeah.
But we have the Wii U Just Dance 2017.
Okay.
So that that I'll allow. That I'll allow because he's up dancing. There's music, and he's being active. So
Right.
I'll allow that.
When he was very small, if you can bring
Yeah.
yourself to think back that far, did you find that there were specific songs or playlists of music that would help, calm him, that would help, put him in a better mood?
Yeah, we had a lot of those Rockabye Baby. Those Rockabye Baby CDs. There was like music by like AC/DC, but it's done like
For babies.
Really?
like,
No, I was not
like
aware of that. That's
instrumental
great.
or the Beatles or
Right.
we had a lot of those CDs.
And they did the job. They were good for that kind
It's
of
just
thing.
when he was very, very young. Yeah, just very. It's just very simple, kind of like instrumental
Sure.
music.
Sure.
I want to kind of understand more about how did you use your talent, because you're obviously very creative. How did you use your talent to we're saying entertain the kids, but what we actually mean is that they say that at the beginning at least they have to be stimulated.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
And even though they can't really move a lot, and especially when they're small babies,
Right.
and later in life we need to stimulate them in order for them to sleep well, and for the whole circle to come in some sort of an order.
Well, I never
Broadway tunes.
I
would
never
that be-
handed the phone off I never just handed off the phone.
Okay.
I don't have a car that has the TV on the
Right,
seats or
right.
anything like that, or something that folds down.
Yeah.
So I didn't have any of that. Something that I remember is just always trying to talk. I see those commercials too on TV, like the first 5 years. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Have you seen those commercials?
Yeah.
Sing to your kids, read to your kids, talk
Yeah.
to your kids. Like I felt like I was just talking to myself and having conversations with myself and just repeating, but I did try to talk a lot while we were in the car. I always did play music in the car. I have all my CDs in the car. So he's a little bit, did you want it when he was younger?
Sure.
I think we need to be expressive. That's how we
Right.
communicate with our face and our eyes. And it may seem silly to them. You know, it might feel silly to them.
Yeah, and
the
this is
adult,
why
the
I
dad.
feel that a lot of dads don't do that just because they think in like grown-ups way of thinking, which is that's silly. I'm not going
Right,
to
right. I'm not gonna do
to
that.
like put a Madonna song on and dance
All right,
whatever,
look,
True Blue.
What Yanira is trying to tell you is that when our children were,
That's what you did.
3 and 4 months old, we put on these shows. They're
I
these
love it.
There are these two blobs lying there on the
They
floor.
didn't know- and we didn't know
were
what to do
wearing
with them.
wigs and dancing around with cones on.
No,
and-
not with cones.
Well, we didn't
no,
know-
but we
couldn't
used to
afford
do
cones.
we used to do like take their puppets and do like the puppets are doing that,
Yeah.
and then we had some singing. Lip sync
Yeah.
for our lives.
We were lip syncing for our lives.
Sometimes
already.
there were wigs involved. I'm not gonna lie. But our kids were like, locked eyes on us for like
Yeah.
an hour,
Yeah.
watching us, and they were tired after it because
Yeah.
there's a lot
So
going
were
on.
we.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we used to have like this show which we ran from 5 to 6, and we knew that's bath time.
That's
now.
great, you guys.
This is how we pass
was,
the
it was
time.
good.
That
It was
is really
good.
great.
But
It was
I'm
good.
thinking, not all dads
Are
are
gonna
like
do
that. Some of them are like what you said. Like this is silly.
I think it's just like kind of like stripping down the little walls and that taking down away those feelings like, oh, this is gonna be silly. I'm so stupid. You know what I mean? This is embarrassing. I think you just have to kind of, at least for me, I've enjoyed it because it kind of like takes me back to like a young
Right.
time.
Yeah.
Do you know, like when I was a kid, like I said, like I remember pushing away the furniture and making
Yeah.
up dances and
I was doing that too.
I think it's just being able to go back to being a kid,
Right.
or if it's going out to the park, you even just see those billboards, take time to be a dad. I saw one the other day, a bench at the bus stop,
Yeah.
and these two little characters, take time to be a dad, and the dad had the baseball bat, and
So for you, it means other things.
it means other things too,
Yeah.
like just go to the park and just go to the park.
One of the things, as a gay man, one of the things that it sort of bangs around in my head as our kids are almost 3 years old now.
Okay.
And it has been this way since they were very young, that I say to myself, as we're exposing them to music and TV and the various aspects of our lives, I've asked myself, what effect does this have on the way my kids are going to grow up and the way they're going to interact with other kids? Will the profound gayness of our household have an effect on the kids? Not so much that will make them gay or straight. I'm not really concerned about that. But that will make their interaction with other kids challenging in some way. Have you ever asked yourself that question? Here we were talking about show tunes earlier on. Will your son's deep experience with show tunes affect the
Ethel
way
moment.
Ethel. Will Ethel have an impact on the way he interacts with other kids who won't even know who she is and who will think, what is with this Ethel Merman all over the place? Did you ask yourself that question at all?
No, when you were kind of asking that question, I hope it's just a real positive. I'm thinking it's just a real positive influence for him, positive at school. I mean, I know questions started coming to us very early, like in kindergarten. We would sit around the table and I'd go and volunteer in the classroom, and kids would ask, well, who's Bodhi's mom? Do you know what I mean? Or even in preschool, on the swings, they would ask a question, and it always kind of surprised me that the question came out, and I would just try to answer it very quickly and very easily, and then just move on. I just hope that his household keeps him. He's a very happy kid. He's happy. He's sweet. He seems very kind. He's gentle. I hope that it's a very positive influence for him at school and in his world and life as he continues to get older.
Right.
Children are like experiencing these things, but remember, they're just experiencing them for the first time. Sand.
Yeah.
At the beach, water on their toes. Sand at the park.
Yeah.
And they get excited by just the littlest things. The color of a leaf, the shape of a rock. a bug.
Right.
We have to be slow and take time, not rush, not hurry, and let them. I know that I sometimes hurry and rush. Hey, we got to get going. We got to go. But like, there's this great leaf that he wants to look at.
Yeah.
There's this great rock that he has to add to his collection, that he has to take time to dig out of the ground, and he has to figure out how he's going to dig it out. I don't know, maybe just slowing down and it doesn't have to, I don't think it has to be a lot. It doesn't have to be fancy. It doesn't have to be wigs. It doesn't have to be, it doesn't have to be that. I think it just needs to be time.
Right.
It just has to be your time.
I think that I found that being a dad of two boys, for me as a person who, put on wigs and do the Kylie Minogue routines, it's kind of hard because I never played any of these games, and I was wondering, how is it for you? I mean, did you have to? And your kid is older.
I know.
Than mine, so he's probably much more into these kind of things. And what would you do? I mean, who teach them?
He should be involved with the team sport, but he's not right now. He's not. So the problem is, now as he's getting older, the problem is when he is involved with the team sport at school or something, there can be some difficulty because he hasn't learned rules. Not that we can't teach, but he hasn't learned rules. He hasn't learned quite the concept of it, and there can be some challenges in that way.
What do you think about violent toys, which I think boys are much more tend to kind of want? And I figured that sometimes it's even not related to the way that, I mean, we teach them to be pacifists, right? But
just excuse me. We'll be right back with you. You just sit there for a minute. We do not teach our children to be pacifists. Non-violent but not harmful to others is not the same as pacifist.
Okay.
Now let's continue with our podcast.
Well, we have our Nerf guns. You know what I mean? We have those Nerf guns, but some of those Nerf guns are huge.
Like Schwarzenegger Nerf
They're
guns.
big. He was over with his friend the other day, and they were playing with them, and he has these kind of Nerf arrows.
Did he ask you to buy those?
No,
because a lot of
he likes them. He likes them, and sometimes they've just been a gift. If he's out with other family members, okay, we'll get this Nerf gun. I actually, we went to dinner the other night, and he wanted to bring his bow and arrow with him, but he brought just the bow, but not the arrow. And I said, well, why did you bring the bow and not the arrow? And he something about. I said, how are you going to protect us if you don't have the arrow? But I guess, kind of like Phil just said, don't bring the arrow. Phil said, don't bring the arrow. I said, okay. He gets just like the way it looked, the bow in the back of his
t-shirt. It's pretty
cool.
It's cool.
But we were out one time and he had the Nerf gun, and I really didn't approve of it. I really didn't like it. I forget where we were going, but I didn't want him to have, how things are in the news, just having the shape of a gun. And now people can make, I guess, guns on this 3D printer art or whatever. Yep. I just didn't even like him having that, even though it was maybe just a Nerf gun. I didn't like having him have it in like a public place.
Right. Sure. So he's 10 now, right?
Right.
Has he played, so you said that you guys have a Wii?
Wii U, right.
So has he played more, one-on-one games or,
right, the Minecraft or the
things like that, yeah.
The Minecraft, I've allowed that.
Okay.
I've tried to monitor it, but I've allowed it.
Right.
Because here's the thing. Are you going to just be that awful dad, the one dad in the school that doesn't let your child work on an iPad, doesn't let your child play on the phone, doesn't let your child play? Now they can be so interactive from home to home on Fortnite, with this game called Fortnite, which I'm not really familiar with either. But again, I'm not I don't want to allow a lot of time on that.
So you do it mostly based on time?
I don't like any TV or those games during the week. If on the weekends there's some time for that, then, and if maybe there's an opportunity in the evening during the week if everything is done. If everything is done.
Got it.
If all schoolwork is done, I can give you a little time. But
so does he own an iPad or?
Yes, he has an iPad. Yeah,
but he has. But it's controlled by you, basically. You decide what time he's going to use it.
Yeah, okay. I just prefer rather not use it though. But again, I don't. And also, our third grade teacher said, and I noticed a lot of work that was coming home from Bodie in third grade was my dad won't let me use the iPad. It was very My dad won't give me. I want my iPad back, and just that's what he was writing about in school.
Okay.
And finally, the teacher, Miss Simpkins, she's just like, "You might want to let him have his." Because all
You have
the
a smart son.
Well, all the other kids though too. I mean, there has to be this point where this is how they do communicate. This is how they are going to be doing their work at school. It's different. I still want them to learn how to write. I want them to learn how to write, but they're
Right.
just swiping and
Yeah.
and so I do have to understand that is where they are moving in school and technology and communicating and.
Yeah.
But again, there's something about me that's still very old school. Like, can
Yeah.
you write your letters and can you write cursive and
Right.
Cursive, huh?
can you sign your name?
I don't think that they're teaching cursive anymore. I think cursive, right, in school, I don't think they're doing it anymore.
I don't know if they're. I mean, we've had some handbooks come home with
Right.
it in
Really?
there, but I don't know how much
Yeah.
they're teaching it.
How do you? I want to go back to the violent toys.
Right.
Did you ever encounter other kids, using toy guns?
Yeah, well, like
Um,
I said, we were over at a friend's house a couple days ago, and they had.
But not in public.
I
Not
don't-
like in the park.
in the park. I think it may be okay.
Yeah.
Maybe okay. I just,
I had a toy gun pointed at me by some kid at the park. I'm
Yeah,
just saying.
you told me
and
about that.
it wasn't nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
they're just playing with each other, maybe, but again, nothing aimed at the head, of course, and but yeah,
We don't like them.
I don't like them either.
We-
I
yeah,
think there are
and
other
I-
choices.
All right, we don't
Yeah.
like them, but our kids are not even 3
Yeah,
yet.
you know
Wait
what?
till they're 5.
And I just read a book about playing and toys, and there's a whole chapter about gun toys, and it says that basically that kids who plays with guns are not necessarily will grow up to be murderers.
Right. Oh,
that's
it's just
nice.
in some way it is healthy because it's a source for them to release aggression.
Of course.
Some of their aggression they it's held inside towards their parents or their teacher or whatever, and this is their ways to kind of
we
release
have our
it.
water guns. We
Yeah.
have our water guns. We have those big water
Right, the
things.
pump thing, yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, I think that at least when I was a little kid, the question was, is it a desensitizing thing, right? It's not so much that it's going to make you into a mass murderer, but does it make you look at guns in a more comfortable way and say, oh, sure, it's a gun, big deal, when perhaps you should take them more seriously than that? And I honestly don't know, but I agree with you. Having them out and having your kid out in public with something that looks like a gun, probably not a good idea, just from a safety perspective, these days.
What was the gayest performance that you ever did for your kid?
Oh, that's a good question.
Like the gayest, like like a song comes on and you'll become like this character or whatever.
When did the boa come out?
Oh gosh.
Your son,
Come
probably,
on.
your son
No.
probably will not listen to this, so I think
no.
you can
I
safely.
I don't know if I really had like the boa come out. I think it's kind of just a part of my everyday. But it's not. It's kind of part of my everyday. Just hey, come on, let's put on a show tune. Hey, come on, let's I love this song. I love this number. I love this. Let's tap. Let's this. When the Fosse music comes on, I'm like, oh my gosh, that's the show that I did. You know what I mean? Daddy R did that show, and you know what I mean. And then I get up and I do try to remember the moves. And
Your Daddy R?
Daddy R and Daddy D.
Oh, that's interesting.
Reese is my last
Oh.
name, and then
Because-
yeah, so
So it's last names.
last name
Oh.
Daddy R and Daddy D.
Oh,
So,
that's-
so you said that your husband does costumes,
Right. So we do have like a
I
big
was
box
gonna
of we do
say.
have a big box of jewelry and big Dancing with the Star bracelets and bedazzled, and they are right out in the middle of the room. But he did have them on the other day.
Amazing.
I mean, but yeah, there's all this broken jewelry from Dancing with the Stars
Right.
that needs to be repaired and stuff, and all this and feathers. He has boxes of feathers and beads and.
Now we're
Yeah,
getting
you know
there.
what I mean,
Now we're
right?
getting there.
So
And does your husband dance and sing, even if he's not a professional?
he used to do it, and he says he doesn't, but he still does. I know he still does. Yeah.
Excellent.
Towards the end, I want to ask the question that I ask everybody. Which year has been the
I
hardest
knew
for
you were
you?
going to ask me that, right?
And why?
Well, I was thinking about it in the car on the way over, and this profession that I've chosen, this career that I've chosen, it's so hard. It's just really hard, and it's always a struggle, and every day's a struggle, and just the business that I'm in is very, very hard. So I think I'm used to kind of a thick, callous, kind of like, this is going to be tough. This is tough, and I don't know if there's been like the hardest year with Bodhi yet. Actually, with Bodhi, it's kind of a nice reversal of the struggle of my everyday world and life. You know?
So you're saying that work is actually tougher.
More of the struggle.
Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah, and then just getting to be with Bodhi. You know, I was thinking of other things. You know, he loves his Legos, and you were thinking about things to do, and I said, just spend time. Like, I love it when we just play a game board, you know, Life or Sorry or Trouble or Mastermind.
Oh my God,
you know, just like laying on the floor and playing a board game.
Right.
I can't wait for us to start doing
Yeah,
that.
me too.
When did you start? At what age?
The games?
Yeah, the board game.
That's
Probably
a little
later,
more
like
recent.
6.
That's a little, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
3 more years.
you know, but you don't want to rush it though. You don't want to rush the 3 more years so that you can play Sorry. Do you know what I mean? You don't want to rush it, you know, because already you've made me think about things that I've forgotten.
Right.
But I don't know. Every year comes with some challenges, but I love every year when I go, oh my God, they're still cute. They're still cute. He's still cute. He's still sweet. They're still nice. You know, the girls, the boys, you know, it makes me happy. Like, each like, oh my gosh, they're so cute. You know. So,
that's great.
Thank you so much.
Thank you
Mark.
so
I
much
hope
for
this
your
was
time. This was
helpful.
great.
Yes.
It's
you know, I
wonderful.
hope it was
Amazing.
helpful.
If you feel like, if there are, you know, any videos of you dancing in front of your children in wild outfits, we'll take them and put them up. If not, we're going to do it of our own.
I think yours sound
Don't you
better.
dare.
Ours are pretty crazy.
I think
No,
yours
we
are-
should do it. We're going to do it.
I think yours sound much better.
So that was Mark Rees. Thank you, Mark,
Thank
for,
you, Mark.
for joining us.
I have to
and
tell you,
talking-
by the way, about Mark. The one thing that I realize is and this would be true of our friend Jessica also, if I were in entertainment, if I was in front of the camera person, I would actually feel a tremendous pressure around my children to like perform all the time. Like I'd feel
You know
like
what?
they were the camera and I had to like, you know, do hair and makeup and say, hello kids all the time. And it must be a little bit daunting.
You know what? I think Mark does that, but he was embarrassed to talk about it.
You think so? It's
Yes.
possible.
I think that what Mark does with his kids is far more entertainmenty than he
Well, maybe
than
if he
says.
hears this and he decides he wants to send us a video of one of those things.
Yeah, of him dancing to a Broadway show on
it'd be
heels.
So good.
I'm
on
sure
heels.
it happens.
Yeah, we all have heels.
Anyway, I want to talk to kind of summarize some of the things that we did to give people ideas that to what we think can help from, or at least what helped us from our perspective
Yeah.
to our babies when they were, let's say, 0 to 2 years, I would say. Okay, so the first thing that Alex mentioned at the beginning of the show is music. I suggest that they play the music that you like. This is what we did. We didn't care about the Itsy Bitsy Spider. We knew that they're gonna know it or learn it somewhere in the end of their lives, or
Sometimes
sometimes they'll know it before
lives.
the end of their lives. They're gonna know it, and of course they do. It doesn't pass anybody. But you know, exposing to music that you like really shows the babies and the kids how you enjoy music, and I
Yeah.
think it's so important to kind of pass it forward
Yeah,
to
I mean,
other
look-
people. I mean, when my kids, and I used to at the beginning do like a Madonna evening or Kylie, many Kylie evenings, but you know what I mean. So it was really about, I was picking stuff that I like, plus I picked some songs that I think will be fun for them to hear.
Yeah.
For example, Carly Rae Jepsen, who is really cute for kids. There's many artists like that, especially from the UK, Steps, S Club 7, all these bands that, kids love, and it's good pop music, and it's fun, and
so you're going to post links to some of your YouTube music playlists, perhaps?
Yes, I can do that.
I think that's a good idea. But look, I also want to say this, go back on something that Jan just said a minute ago, which is totally true for music, but I think has been totally true for our parenting in general, which is this. The emphasis on the idea that if you are doing something that you like doing, that is meaningful to you as a parent, there is a very good chance that your children are not only going to appreciate that, but they're going to appreciate you. And you don't want the parenting experience to be so much exclusively about the kid that you cease to exist, because so much of what they are experiencing at when they're 3 months old is looking at you and the way you love music, or the way you love food, or the way you love your partner. And you don't want to keep that from them because you're so busy making a production out of your life.
Yes. So that, and also something that we mentioned in the beginning of the show, was the puppet shows that we did. Try that; it's really cute. I mean, you get a lot of teddy bears and stuff like that for a newborn baby. Use them. Don't let them just sit around. I think it was. For our kids, it was magical that the puppets were dancing to these songs. Also, something that I did was recite TV shows. Remember that? That was, so we talked to them a lot, but some of the stuff that I used was like from Friends, or like, this Israeli TV show.
I remember it well.
Krovim, that I know by heart. Stuff that I knew by heart. So like, and even like some Kylie interviews that I know from being a kid, then, watching it for so long. I can recite a Kylie Minogue interview. I did Shakespeare soliloquies because, that's the kind of man that I am. And I just did a Kylie Minogue interview, so we kind of match. We mixed it up. Seriously, so I know that a lot of gay men know by heart, like parts from Golden Girls, all these kind of TV show that were called for gay men. Use that. You're not going to do any harm. And so funny, and it makes and it makes you something to say to them, and they want to hear you speak.
Look, I want to talk about tech a little bit too, because I think it's really.
You talk about tech, I'll eat some roll.
Okay, you have your roll. Don't make the chewy sound on the microphone. Listen, technology is really important in making this possible. There are a few things that I strongly recommend. One, make absolutely sure that you have something set up in your baby's room, but also in other parts of the house, that allows you to play music really, really conveniently. It's not easy to get up and, well, I don't know if anybody has a CD player anymore, but it's not easy to get up and change a CD or, set things up all the time.
Yes, we did Sonos.
We have Sonos. It's a little bit expensive, but there are plenty of other Bluetooth speaker setups and things like that. Now, here's the other thing, too. So we pay for Spotify. This episode brought to you by Spotify.
And Sonos.
It's not Sonos, right? It's not. But we have some Spotify, and you do pay for that. But there is something really amazing when especially when your kids are babies, and you suddenly realize that there's a song from your youth that you want to play, and you don't have it, and you don't know where the disc is or whatever, and you can play almost anything. It's really important. But wait, I'm not done. There's more. Playlists. Put the effort into.
Except Sinita.
I don't know what that is. It sounds like a disease to me. But in any case, what I'm saying is put the effort into making playlists. Create playlists with different names for different parts of your day. Whatever it is, it's a bit of a pain in the butt, but it's worth it, because when you are in a stressful moment and you want to press play on a playlist that's going to give you half an hour or an hour of fun for the kid and you together, even though it might be a repetition, it's really worth it. You want to fill their lives with music. It's not as easy as it might sound, because it means you actually have to think of what it is that you want to play for them. So put some of that effort into it.
It sounds like we're preaching or, criticizing.
I'm
but
not criticizing them because I don't even know who they are. I'm
No,
making
but
a
we're just.
I'm making a suggestion. Don't. I'm making a suggestion.
Anyway, one last thing that I wanted to mention that we did is filming ourselves telling stories. That is incredible. Because, first of all, I got this idea from a TV show, but I did a few videos of me telling stories to the kids. And seeing us on the TV, for them, was magical.
Yeah, it was great.
This is a little later, I want to say at like 2.
2, yeah.
I remember it was like 10 minutes and 48 seconds that I used to play it, and I know that I can do something around the house. Right. So I was telling them a story on the TV, and I was, what I was really doing is tidying up the house and making dinner or whatever. It was really...
Yeah, it's good stuff.
It was helpful. That's it. That's all I have to say.
So we, as I said, we played almost entirely music for adults. We also have an iPad for the kids, which we do not let them use generally because we're a little scared of iPads. But we were on a very, very long flight to Israel. And it was dark, and we had given Ben his iPad to keep him from going crazy on the plane, and he had earphones on, and everyone is asleep, and I get up to go to the bathroom, and as I'm walking away from the row, I hear Ben scream at the top of his lungs, "Sexy lady!" The child is 2 years old. The airplane erupts in laughter. So, you might want to watch what they're listening to, but it was good stuff anyway.
That's it. That's it for us, yes.
All right. Thank you for listening to us.
Sage advice, do you have something for today?
I don't. I have no sage advice.
I have something.
Say it.
It's kind of related to what you told the story about the screening. A lot of parents are kind of afraid or reluctant from exposing to their kids to screen time, a lot of screen time. My sage advice is pay attention to how much screen time do you have, and that's including phones. So it's not what you say to them, it's what you do. So let's say you're going to the park, you're on the phone all the time. This is what the kids see.
Yeah.
You're answering email during dinner, stuff like that. You're on Instagram when your kid wants to show you something.
Yeah.
Just don't forget that you do it too, and just that's my advice. Don't forget that you do it too.
I'll just point out that you're preaching now, but still, I agree.
No, I'm just saying that. Is it preaching?
No, I'm just saying we're during the sage advice period. That's what you're supposed to do, and I agree.
I'm not saying to them what to say or do with their kids. I'm just saying, just don't forget that you do it too.
Yeah. Agreed.
And that's sometimes something you need to. We're so focusing on them, like you said. We're so focusing on the kids that sometimes we don't think like what we do.
Yeah.
How it's like for us. Okay. If you don't like our advices, please rate and review us.
We would love you to rate and review us regardless. We love 5 stars. We like when you write reviews because Apple and the other guys really like written reviews. We also would love to hear from you at hello@daddysqr.com. And for some reason, we're still doing social media at...
Don't say that. It's my job.
Well, yeah, but at your
what
name
if somebody
instead of... No, I mean using your name. What do we do with Twitter? What is with Twitter?
At Yanir Dekel.
At Yanir Dekel.
I'm also on Instagram.
Okay.
Just saying.
Okay.
Just one thing. Keep the ideas for subjects coming because we got some good ideas this week.
Yeah.
I'm not sure we're going to use them all in the first season, but we're having a second season.
All right.
We've been renewed.
That's right. But you'll have to wait a while.
If you have ideas, one of the better ideas that we got this week is do a whole episode about the connection with the surrogate.
Oh, that is good. Oh, well.
It's very interesting.
I wonder whether she will be willing to join us.
I wish.
She will. She'll do it. We're going to call her. We're coming for you.
Okay, so have a great week, you guys, and we're gonna see you next week. daddysquare.com. daddysqr.com.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Shalom.
Shalom.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good too.
Yuppie.
Like-
Today we're gonna talk about entertaining the kids.
I'm the little kid.
Yeah, you are the little kids.
I-
And what is
I'm-
the song? What is the song that you love the most?
Kumbaya.
Kumbaya? Can you sing it?
Kumbaya, my lord. Yakabasa.
And what about Kylie? Do you like Kylie Minogue? Can you sing?